Hello student, I am Sangeeta Mansukhani. This is the video number 136. In this video, I will be represent chapter number 6 as a visual way, digital way. So you completely understand. Okay, let us start.
In this module, you will learn about the different methods used for the concentration of ores, which means removal of unwanted materials associated with the ores. Minerals from which metals can be extracted conveniently and economically are called ores. Ores are found in the earth crust and contain one or more metal compounds along with certain non-metallic and earthy impurities. The extraction of a metal from its ore involves several physical and chemical processes such as the concentration of ore, isolation of metal from the concentrated ore, and purification of the metal. As the concentration of ore, isolation of metal from the concentrated ore, and purification of the metal. All these processes are collectively referred to as metallurgy. In this module, you will learn in detail about the first step of metallurgy, the concentration of ore. Concentrating an ore means getting rid of all the unwanted materials from the ore, which are also referred to as the gangue. Depending on the properties of the ore and its gangue, the methods used for concentrating an ore may include hydraulic washing, magnetic separation, froth flotation, and leaching. Let's first learn in detail about the method of hydraulic washing, which is based on the difference in the gravities of the ore and the gangue particles. In hydraulic washing, powdered ore is spread on a sloping block having grooves. When a stream of water is allowed to flow over the ore, lighter gangue particles get washed away, leaving the heavier ore particles behind within the grooves. In magnetic separation, powdered ore is passed over a conveyor belt running over two rollers, one out of which is magnetic. The magnetic particles get attracted to the magnetic roller and travel a distance with the conveyor belt little longer than the non-magnetic particles. Therefore, the non-magnetic particles drop down first, forming a heap, whereas the magnetic particles drop down a little later, forming a separate heap. The next method used for concentration of ore is the froth flotation method, which is based on the difference in the wetting properties of the ore and the gangue particles. The froth flotation method is used exclusively for sulfide ores, where the ore particles are wetted by oil, while the gangue particles are wetted by the water. In the froth flotation method, the powdered ore is mixed with water and small amount of fine oil. The resulting mixture is then agitated by blowing compressed air through it. The oil in the mixture forms froth with the air. The froth rises up to the surface containing the ore particles. The gangue particles, on the other hand, settle down in water. Froth is then collected in another container where it is washed and dried to obtain the concentrated ore. In the leaching method, the powdered bauxite ore is treated with hot and concentrated solution of sodium hydroxide. The ore dissolves in sodium hydroxide to form sodium aluminate, and silica dissolves to form sodium silicate. These, however, remain undissolved and are later filtered out. Containing the sodium aluminate and sodium silicate is further treated with carbon dioxide gas. This leads to the precipitation of the hydrated aluminium oxide, leaving behind sodium silicate in the solution. The hydrated aluminium oxide is then filtered out and heated strongly to form pure aluminium oxide. That naturally occurring chemical substances containing metals are called minerals, and those minerals from which metals can be extracted conveniently and economically are called ores. The extraction of a metal from its ore involves several physical and chemical processes, namely concentration of ore, isolation of metal from the concentrated ore, and the purification of the metal. Concentration of ore means getting rid of all the unwanted materials, which are also referred as gangue from the ore. Commonly used methods for the concentration of ores include hydraulic washing, magnetic separation, froth flotation, and leaching. Hydraulic washing is based upon the difference in the gravities of the ore and gangue particles. Magnetic separation is based on the difference in the magnetic properties of ore and gangue particles. Froth flotation process is based on the difference in the wetting properties of the ore and gangue particles. Leaching process is used when the ore particles are soluble in such a solvent in which the gangue particles cannot dissolve.
Extraction of copper from copper pyrites. Extraction of copper from copper pyrites involves the following steps. Crushing and concentration. The ore is crushed and then concentrated by froth flotation process. What is froth flotation process? In this process, the powdered ore is mixed with water and a little pine oil, that is a foaming agent, and the whole mixture is then stirred vigorously by blowing compressed air. The oil forms the foam or froth with the air. The ore particles stick to the froth, which rises to the surface, while the rocky and earthy impurities, that is the gangue or matrix, are left in water. The froth is skimmed or collected and allowed to subside to get the concentrated ore. Roasting. The concentrated ore is heated strongly in the reverberatory furnace in excess of air. During roasting, moisture is removed. The volatile impurities are removed. Sulfur, phosphorus, arsenic, and antimony, which are present as impurity, are removed as volatile oxides. Sulfur plus oxygen gives sulfur dioxide. Phosphorus plus oxygen gives phosphorus pentoxide. Arsenic plus oxygen gives arsenic trioxide. The copper pyrite is partly converted into sulfides of copper and iron. Copper pyrite plus oxygen gives copper sulfide plus iron sulfide plus sulfur dioxide. Iron sulfide plus oxygen gives iron 2 oxide plus sulfur dioxide. Smelting. The roasted ore is mixed with powdered coke and sand and is heated in a blast furnace. It is made of steel plates lined inside with fire clay bricks. Hot air at 800 degrees Celsius is introduced from the tires near the base of the furnace. As a result, the following changes occur. Iron sulfide plus oxygen gives iron 2 oxide plus sulfur dioxide. Iron oxide plus silicon dioxide gives ferrosilicate, that is a fusible slag. Copper glance plus oxygen gives cuprite plus sulfur dioxide. Cuprite plus iron sulfide gives copper glance plus iron oxide. Iron oxide plus silicon dioxide gives ferrosilicate, that is a fusible slag. As a result of smelting, two separate molten layers are formed at the bottom of the furnace. The upper layer consists of slag and is removed as a waste, while the lower layer is called matte. It chiefly consists of cuprous sulfide and some unchanged ferrous sulfide. Bessemerization. The molten matte is transferred to a Bessemer converter as shown in the visual. The Bessemer is mounted on a horizontal axis and is fitted with small pipes called tires through which a blast of hot air and fine sand is admitted. Any sulfur, arsenic and antimony still present escape as their respective oxides. Ferrous sulfide present in matte is oxidized to ferrous oxide, which combines with silica to form slag. Iron sulfide plus oxygen gives iron 2 oxide plus sulfur dioxide. Iron oxide plus silicon dioxide gives ferrosilicate, that is a fusible slag. Some of the cuprous sulfide undergoes oxidation to form cuprous oxide, which then reacts with more cuprous sulfide to give copper metal. The impure metal thus obtained is called blister copper and is about 98% pure. Cuprous sulfide plus oxygen gives cuprous oxide plus sulfur dioxide. Cuprous oxide plus cuprous sulfide gives copper plus sulfur dioxide. Refining. Blister copper contains about 2% of impurities and it is purified by electrolytic refining. Electrolytic refining. This method is used to get metal of high degree of purity. For electrolytic refining of copper, a block of impure copper metal acts as anode. A thin plate of pure copper metal acts as cathode. Copper sulfate solution acidified with sulfuric acid is taken as electrolyte. When electric current is passed through the electrolytic solution, pure copper gets deposited on the cathode. Impurities settle near the anode in the form of sludge called anode mud. Watching
Blast furnace. After concentration of oxide ores of iron, it is mixed with limestone and coal. Then this mixture is fed into the blast furnace from its top. In this blast furnace, hot air is blown from the bottom of the furnace. Coke is burned with the release of temperature up to 2200 Kelvin. This provides the required temperature for the process. Iron oxide combined with carbon atom produces iron and carbon monoxide. This is the main reduction in this process. At the lower temperature, iron oxides are reduced to its simpler form. Carbon atom with carbon dioxide produces 2-carbon monoxide. Iron oxide with carbon monoxide produces iron and carbon dioxide. Limestone is decomposed into calcium monoxide. This removes the salicylate impurities in the form of slag.
So according to me, you completely understood. Next is NCERT textual questions. See, question number first. Copper can be extracted by hydrometallurgy but not drink. Question number first. Second, what is the role of the depressant in froth flotation process? Then question number fourth. Explain John refining column chromatography. Then question number 8. Write chemical reaction taking place in different zones in the blast furnace during the extraction of the iron. Then question number 10. What is meant by the term chromatography? Question 12. Describe a method for refining nickel. Question 13. How can you separate alumina from silica in a bauxite are associated with silica? Then question number 14. Giving example, differentiate between roasting and calcination. Question number 16. Differentiate between minerals and ores. Then question number 26 outlines the principle of the refining of matters by following methods. So these circle question I already explained in my last videos. Okay, so please focus because this is the directly question given. So directly see, like this question, outline the principle of the refining of metals. So directly John refining. So John refining method I already explained. Vapor phase refining, electrolytic refining, chromatography. So I already explained my videos. Okay, so please see that videos. Okay, and next question I will be explained. Question number 3. Why is the extraction of the copper from pyrite is more difficult than that from its oxide ore through reduction? So why is the extraction of the copper from pyrite is? So you already known about carbon as the reducing agent for copper pyrite is. So reduction reaction would be Cu2S plus carbon. So copper sulfide, cuprous sulfide convert into the copper and then carbon disulfide. And the condition for the reaction is fusion Gibbs energy delta G for carbon disulfide less than cuprous sulfide. But which is not the case. The line for CS2 in Allingham diagram lies much higher comparison than Cu2S. So carbon cannot be used as a reducing agent, right? So for similar reason, even hydrogen gas cannot be used as a reducing agent. Okay, so delta G for H2S greater than Cu2S. So that wise Cu2S is first roasted to Cu2O and then reduced with carbon. Okay, so cuprous oxide react with the carbon and convert into the copper and then carbon monoxide gas. So we have to obtain carbon monoxide Gibbs energy less than for the Gibbs energy cuprous oxide. Okay, so that is means cuprous oxide energy, Gibbs energy greater than carbon monoxide. Question number 5. Out of carbon and CO, which is better reducing agent at 673 Kelvin? So first you see the Allingham diagram. So according to the Allingham diagram, carbon forms two oxide with oxygen. First, carbon react with the oxygen carbon dioxide and two carbon react with the O2, so convert into the carbon monoxide. If carbon monoxide react with the oxygen, so carbon dioxide, but at 673 Kelvin temperature gives energy for carbon dioxide less than carbon monoxide. So formation of the carbon dioxide gas is more favorable than CO because when CO gas is to act as a reducing agent. Okay. So carbon dioxide gas gives energy less than comparison than carbon monoxide. So hence carbon giving both CO2 and CO is better reducing agent below 673 Kelvin. So however out of the two carbon and CO is a better reducing agent. Got it? Next question is 6th. Name the common elements present in the anode mud in electrolytic refining of the copper and why are they so present? Name the common elements. So common elements present in the anode mud, anode mud, that is means impurities, and which are element? Antimony, selenium, tellurium, silver, gold and platinum. Okay, and since these elements are less reactive, so not affected by copper plus 2 and sulfuric acid solution, so settle down under anode as anode mud. Okay, so less reactive, reason only less reactive, and not affected by copper and copper plus 2 ion and sulfuric acid, so they settle down under anode as anode mud. Next, write down the reaction taking place in the extraction of the zinc from zinc blende. So 3 steps. First is 4 step. First is concentration by froth flotation method, because zinc blende is zinc sulfide. Okay, so first concentration by froth flotation method. Second is roasting, so convert into the oxide. So zinc and sulfide react with the oxygen, so convert into the zinc oxide and sulfur dioxide. Third step, reduction of the zinc oxide to zinc by Koch at about 1673 Kelvin temperature. So zinc oxide react with the carbon at 1673 Kelvin temperature, so convert into the zinc gas and then carbon monoxide gas. So zinc vapor are collected as zinc metal. So fourth, purification of the zinc. So this purification by electrolytic refining using aluminium as cathode and lead as anode. So electrolyte is zinc sulfate. So reaction at cathode, zinc plus 2 gaining of 2 electrons, so convert into the zinc solid, and reaction at anode, water convert into the O2 gas and H plus and 4 electron loss. So zinc sulfate electrolytic is added from time to time. Next, question number 9th, state the role of the silica in the metallurgy of the copper. Okay, so you already known about during the metallurgy of the copper from copper pyrites, right? And copper pyrites is CuFeS2, and its roasting gives FeO besides Cu2O and SO2. So copper pyrite is CuFeS2 react with the oxygen, so convert into the FeO, Cu2O and SO2. So to remove FeO and SiO2, silica is added. So FeO react with the SiO2, so convert into the FeSiO3, slag, ferrous silicate. Next, question number 13. How can you separate alumina from silica in a bauxites are associated with silica? Equation, if any. Question number 17. Why is copper matte put in silica line converter? So why is copper matte? So first is main component of copper matte are Cu2S, cuprous sulfide, and Fes, iron sulfide, are obtained from copper pyrites. And when a blast of hot air is passed, both are converted into their respective oxide. Cu2S react with the oxygen, convert into the cuprous oxide and sulfur dioxide. Iron sulfide react with the oxygen, so convert into the FeO plus sulfur dioxide. And FeO react with the silica, SiO2, so convert into the slag. Okay, so these are main copper matte convert into the put into the silica and light converter. Okay, so main component of the copper matte are Cu2S and then Fes. Next question is, what is the role of the cryolite in the metallurgy of the aluminium? So cryolite is Na3AlF6 dissolved in alumina Al2O3 and lowers the molten temperature of the electrolyte. Okay, so dissolve alumina Al2O3 and then lowers the molten temperature of electrolyte. Next, question 19th. How is leaching carried out in the case of low grade copper ores? So low grade copper ores is done by spraying diluted sulfuric acid on the heap of the ore in the presence of air when copper goes into the solution as copper plus 2 ion. So CuCO3 react with the sulfuric acid, so convert into the copper sulfate, CO2 gas and then water. And copper oxide react with the sulfuric acid, so convert into the copper sulfate and then H2O. Next, question number 20. Why is zinc not extracted from zinc oxide through reduction using Cu? Okay, so following redox reaction will occur when zinc oxide is reduced with CO gas. So zinc oxide react with the CO, so convert into the zinc and copper carbon dioxide. So for this reaction to occur, Gibbs energy of the formation for CO2. So CO2 should be less than comparison than zinc oxide. Okay, so Gibbs energy formation for CO2 less than comparison than zinc oxide. So from Allingham diagram, it becomes evident that CO2 Allingham diagram. So formation energy of the Gibbs energy for CO2 greater than zinc oxide. So reason CO cannot be used as a reducing agent for zinc oxide. Next question number 21. The value of the delta Fg formation Gibbs energy for formation of the Cr2O3 is minus 540 kilojoule per mole and that of Al2O3 is minus 827 kilojoule per mole. So is the reduction of the Cr2O3 possible with aluminium? So reduction of the Cr2O3 by aluminium, which process? Thermit process. So Cr2O3 plus 2 aluminium react with the oxygen, so Al2O3, and then convert into the and byproduct chromium. So here Al2O3 energy given minus 827 and for Cr2O3 minus 540. Okay, so Gibbs energy change delta G formation is equal to minus 827 minus 540. So minus 287 kilojoule per mole. So negative value of the Gibbs energy suggests that the reaction is spontaneous and will occur. And this reaction represents alumina thermit process. It is highly exothermic and to initiate the reaction high temperature is required. Okay, once the reaction starts, so it goes to the completion. Question number 23. The choice of a reducing agent in a particular case depends on the thermodynamic factor. How far do you agree with this statement and support your opinion with two examples? So Allingham diagram we have to refer. So according to the Allingham diagram, element will act as a reducing agent for a given metal oxide if the Gibbs energy formation of the oxide of the element would be less than the formation Gibbs energy of the metal oxide. So metal oxide react with the reducing agent R. So R react with the O, RO plus metal. Okay, so Gibbs energy formation energy RO less than comparison than metallic oxide. So we can also say that an element will act as reducing agent for all other metal oxide, so lying above its line of the formation in the Allingham diagram. So simple example like aluminium as reducing agent for Cr2O3. Reason because aluminium convert into the alumina and then reduce to the Cr2O3. So aluminium as a reducing agent. Then second example, carbon as a reducing agent for zinc oxide. So zinc oxide react with the carbon. So carbon as a reducing agent because zinc oxide convert into the zinc. So reverse completely above two reaction is not possible. Next question number 24. Name the processes from which chlorine is obtained as a byproduct and what will happen if an aqueous solution of the NaCl is subjected to electrolysis. So which process chlorine is obtained as byproduct and aqueous solution of NaCl we have to say. So first is down process. Okay, I already explained in my last videos. So during the preparation of the sodium metal by down process, so chlorine is obtained as a byproduct and molten NaCl containing CaCl2, okay, is electrolyzed when sodium is obtained at cathode and chlorine obtained at anode. Okay, so NaCl convert into the Na plus Cl minus. So cathode Na obtain and then anode Cl2 gas obtain. Okay, but second, when an aqueous solution of the NaCl is electrolytes, so if you see half reaction way, so Na plus first electron gain convert into the Na and reduction potential value minus 2.7 volt and water gaining 2 electron convert into the hydrogen gas and OH minus, so reduction potential value minus 0.83 volt. When compare electrode potential values of the two half reaction, so it becomes clear H2O will be reduced to hydrogen rather than Na plus convert into the Na. Okay, so water less negative value, reduction potential value, comparison than sodium. Okay, similar way chloride ion convert into the chlorine. So minus 1.36 volt, and water convert into the oxygen H plus ion and electron. So minus 1.23 volt. So here also chloride ions get oxidized in preference to the water molecules. So oxidation potential value is lower than water molecule. Okay, so overall reaction of the electrolytes. At cathode, water gaining of the electron, hydrogen and OH minus, and then chloride ion convert into the chlorine and then 2 electron. Okay. Then question number 25th. What is the role of the graphite rod in the electrometallurgy of the aluminium? Okay, so graphite anode is used in the electrometallurgy of the aluminium from alumina. Alumina is Al2O3. So to prevent the liberation of the O2 gas and at the anode, and which may react with the aluminium metal to give Al2O3. So here you see oxygen so liberate at high temperature. So here you see carbon react with the O2 minus, melt. So convert into the carbon monoxide. But if react 2 oxygen, melt, so CO2. And this is the already explained in my last videos, because role of the graphite rod in the electrometallurgy, it is important. Okay, because graphite anode we have to use. Clear? Question number 27. Predict condition under which aluminium might be expected to the reduce MgO. So for the reduction of MgO by aluminium, convert into the Mg and Al2O3. Magnesium oxide convert into the magnesium and aluminium convert into the Al2O3. And the temperature should be chosen. So Al2O3 gives energy less than magnesium oxide. Around 2000 Kelvin. The line for Al2O3 lies below that of MgO. So therefore aluminium easily can reduce MgO. Okay, however at a temperature below the intersection point of the two lines, magnesium oxide is more stable and can't be reduced by aluminium. Okay, so this is the also explained by the Allingham diagram. Okay, so all question I covered and I discussed here, but any have doubts, so please tell me. Okay, thank you so much.